Hello, everyone. This is Eliza. I just need to record this little apology message because I found out after recording this episode that I made a grave error in the middle of it. And I wouldn't have thought to point this out if it weren't for the fact we got a reply on a Twitter post I made about this similar error. And so I just want to come out and say that I, in this episode, or even in Primrose episode, I mistakenly say that the characters are trapped or they decide to live in the mall, but that is not the case. It is, in fact, a department store. And I cannot believe I would make such a harsh, disgusting error. And, and Gordon has thankfully allowed me to stay on the podcast. Like, he almost threatened to kick me off it, but he has been so gracious in letting me stay as co-host as long as I made this apology message. And I just want to say thank you to Gordon for being so forgiving of my heinous, heinous error. Uh, and I hope to make many more episodes together. And also, as penance, I had to delete my original intro to this, which was me singing "If You Can Find Me, I Hear," which I think is for the best, not included in this episode. So thank you and hope you enjoy the episode despite the many, many heinous errors on my part. Thank you. I didn't even think of like anything I wanted to say going into this, but like as a transition into the episode.
Yeah, there's not really a. I got nothing.
All
But
right,
it sounds like we're in it. Sounds like we're in the.
I'm gonna call the Darkmen on you
Oh no!
because you
Oh
scared
no!
me just now.
I'm gonna be turned into a mannequin, like
Ah.
just like in the movie Mannequin.
Well, that's the reverse. It's a mannequin turned into a person.
Yeah, but it's about. I didn't mean turned into a person or turned into a mannequin like in the movie Mannequin. I meant it more like turned into a mannequin like from the movie Mannequin.
Okay.
It is where the
So
quotation
so
marks
you're
on
gonna
that
be
little
turned into a
phrase.
mannequin and that then gets turned into a person again.
No, I didn't. I didn't. Just the concept of a mannequin, as in the movie Mannequin, except not one that turns back to life. This
Okay.
isn't a joke that's working at all.
No,
Hi,
but
everybody. We're talking about Evening Primrose.
I'm just thinking it's just like is there a movie where a mannequin plays prominently that doesn't come back to life? Like it's just a mannequin.
Probably. Um,
I can't think of one. But I feel like there's like a TV show or something where
there's
like
probably
like
like
Modern Family or something like that where
yeah.
it's like somebody gets a mannequin and like it keeps it around.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's like a Jackie Chan movie or some like big action comedy that has a big action set piece in a mall where a mannequin plays a role in the action. That seems like something that probably exists out there.
Oh,
But
I do remember though. So like this is nothing, but it's something I always think about. So in like a year or two after the pandemic, the I was home from work one day and I was watching The Young and the Restless, the soap opera, and apparently during COVID they had these like mannequins of the actors to be like stand-ins so they could still film the show without
yeah,
like breaking COVID protocols or anything. And so later in the show, they decided to use these for the plot, and there was this whole like week long plot line where this guy was like going insane and he's like hearing the mannequin of like his ex-girlfriend, ex-wife, like talking to him. Like he just had this thing and it was like telling him to do bad things to people. Oh, and it was insane to just like see this shit out of context, just like randomly being home. But I was looking it up afterwards. It was just like Jesus. Like it's genuinely kind of cool that they like thought of this plot line to use these for more than just like being stand-ins. But
I mean, you got them. Might as well use them.
exactly, it's pretty. I liked what I saw of it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So
Evening Primrose.
transitioning back to Evening Primrose, soap operas, long-running TV shows. Evening Primrose, a short-running movie that's also a TV episode because it's 50 minutes, not even an hour on this one, folks. And spoiler alert for the episode. Good movie. Go watch it. It's on YouTube. It's 50 minutes. It will not take up much more of your time than 50 minutes, uh, on account of it being 50 minutes.
Yeah.
No, a very good movie. Very good one here. Uh, dare I say maybe our first great movie? Have we gotten there?
I will say
Perhaps.
this is not my number one, but it is one I did love. Oh, yeah, I should say, like, this is the start of my month where
Oh,
I picked all
yes.
the movies.
Happy birthday.
Happy
Not at the
birthday to
time of
me.
recording, but by the time of people listening to this, it will have been your birthday.
Yeah, my birth for those listening the day this premiered, my birthday was yesterday. W when you're listening, not right now. My birthday, like it is just May 1st as we record this.
Happy early birthday slash late birthday,
Yeah,
Eliza.
it's both. It's a weird superposition right now.
Time is fake. Anyway, Evening Primrose, your first movie for this month. Why'd you pick this one? Give us a little spiel.
So I knew going into this that this would be my the like unofficial official birthday episode. So it's like I wanted to make it something like a movie that I love of, and it's a movie that means like a lot to me, like not just the movie itself, but like w its place in like different aspects about it are important to me. And so I decided to pick this because it it features music or songs by Stephen Sondheim, who is like one of my favorite all-time people. When he died, I cried so long. Um, and so it's just like I thought this would be the perfect thing to cover for my birthday because I love this movie. I love Stephen Sondheim. I love Anthony Perkins and Charmian Carr too. Like they're both fantastic people and fantastic in this movie. And it's just it's a movie I've loved. It's a movie I've seen multiple times before this, and I just thought this would be a good time to watch it for the podcast.
Well, there you go. Yeah, I had not seen this before. But it came up, there was like some tweet last year that had gone semi, not viral or whatever, but it got big enough that I saw it of someone talking about how this movie just exists and is out there and is this weird little TV movie that is the movie it is. And I saw that and I was like, I gotta send this to Eliza to see if it's on the list. And not only was it on the list, you had already seen it multiple times.
It was on my
But
priority list even.
yes, yes. But yeah, I knew what I knew going into this from that, and kind of not much else. And it's a lovely little movie, folks. It really is that good. Uh, yeah. Let me do the rundown here.
Go ahead.
So we're talking about Evening Primrose from 1966, directed by Paul Bogart, written by James Goldman and John Collier, with music and lyrics by Stephen Sondheim, based on a short story by Collier. It stars Anthony Perkins, Dorothy Stickney, Larry Gates, Charmian Carr, Margaret Bannerman, Margaret Baker, Leonard Elliott, Michael Miola, Dorothy Sands, and Margareta Warwick. Broadcast November 16th, 1966, as season 1, episode 9 of ABC Stage 67. Which, yes, it's a TV episode, but also it counts. It's a movie.
It's one of those like series where it's like it is like
Every episode it's not really a TV show so much as it is like, here's a thing where we can do a bunch of hour long, with commercials, probably hour and a half long productions of some sorts.
yeah.
I was looking at some
Like
of the other ABC Stage 67 programming. There was like a documentary about Marilyn Monroe that was narrated by John Huston that was like maybe a couple weeks after this one. There's some others in there on our list, surely, but this is,
yeah. It's less an episode of TV, more just like a block where they get to show things.
yes. And like, for as many of others of these as we have, I know early on when we were making the list, we said no Masters of Horror, right? But I think
Yeah.
maybe we can
Yeah, we
go
said
back
no to
on that.
Masters of Horror.
I think maybe we can go back on that, perhaps. Who knows? If we're doing some of these others, we'll talk about it off air. But this is not an exception for us. There's a few different things like this that we're counting. It's logged as a TV movie. It's considered a TV movie, even though it's episode 9 of this thing.
Mhm.
Uh, Airing opposite it on NBC was an episode of I Spy. There's nothing on CBS at this time. It was like 9 or 10 p.m. It was a late night, uh, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, that is the movie. That's the rundown. That's the basics. Do you want to start us off talking about the movie of it?
Yeah, so we'll just do a basic plot rundown. Uh,
Yeah, this is a plot that if we don't do a rundown, it might be confusing when we bring up certain things of it if we just jumped into it naturally.
yeah. So you have this guy, Charles Snell, played by Anthony Perkins. He's a poet who's kind of dissatisfied with his life and also dissatisfied with his poetry, and decides he's gonna say fuck it, and he's going to live in the mall. He's just gonna live in the mall for the rest of his life, and and like the first song in the movie is him just excitedly like singing about how he's like finally doing this. He's making this big life change. And then but it turns out he's not the only one who's wants to live in the mall. He stumbles upon this weird community. Um I almost want to say cult, but I'll just call it a community for now, of people who already live in the mall, and he has to kind of ingratiate himself with them. And it's all led by Miss Monday, who's this elderly woman who basically who arranges things. Like all the other people there that kind of report to her, and she even has this maid played by Charmian Carr, who who was like lost in the mall when she was like 9 and is was basically forced into servitude, which is weird, but we just got to go with it. And so then he tries to get like I said, ingratiate himself with the community, but also he's falling in love with Ella, the maid. And it's about their even though he's not supposed to be falling in love with her, he's not supposed to really interact with her because again, she's viewed as like this subhuman who lives in the fucking basement. And it's just how it is. That's the basic plot. We won't get into the ending yet until we
Yeah.
talk about where it all goes. But that's the basic thing.
Imagine just like, before we talk about the movie, just imagine if you are Charles Snell, who's like, fuck it, I'm gonna live in this department store. I'm gonna pick a random store. I'm just gonna, be a hermit and live here. Whoops, people have been living here for decades, and now I'm part of a cult and I can't leave or they'll kill me.
Yeah, they'll call
Just
the
like
Darkmen,
they'll
are
call the Darkmen.
which are it gets explained later in the movie that they're people who live in the nearby mortuary, and then Miss Monday can call them whatever she wants in order to get rid of people and turn them into mannequins if they ever displease her.
Or if they try to leave, or if they're burglars or anything like that. Like
Exactly.
a whole bunch of people get turned into mannequins, is the idea. But just like, what rotten luck of deciding to live off the grid and surprise, it's a newer, more fucked up grid. Just like really lucked out with that one, Chuck. Uh,
Chuck.
Yeah, no, I do love that opening number. Anthony Perkins just sort of running around the department store talking about how this is my life now. I don't have to deal with landlords or rent or people, and now I can just live here and write my poetry, I guess, which I mean, good for you as a poet with the integrity to uh remove yourself from society to write poetry just for yourself. But at a certain I don't know. He's lucky that there's people there to listen to his poems, even though they don't like poetry. But it's a good opening number. Perkins is very charming in this, even if he doesn't have the greatest singing voice. Every now and then it gets
Oh yeah.
a little flat, but he's got the enthusiasm. He's got the spirit. He's very good at this sort of love struck uh, uh, thinking type in this
Yeah.
movie.
You mentioned that they don't really like poetry. Most of my notes on this are just different lines I liked, and that one of the ones I really liked is so when he meets Miss Monday,
Yes,
she's
I
like,
wrote this one down too.
Prove you're a poet," and so he recites this poet, and she says, "Oh yes, that's really terrible. The boy's a poet."
It's very good. It's is the movie's not necessarily all that funny, but there's some moments here and there where Miss Monday in particular is kind of a hoot in this,
Hmm.
while also being pretty terrifying.
Yeah,
Uh,
it gets that balance well, where it is like a horror movie, but it also isn't too self-serious because this is just kind of a silly plot with the fucking Darkmen and everything.
yeah,
And
it's
when
people in a department store. It's vaguely telepathic romantic duets.
it Yeah, it's vaguely telepathic romantic duets. Yeah, yeah, it is. Like, got it. But let's talk about the songs actually, because we
Yes.
get like four, five, five.
Four plus a reprise,
Like
right?
you get If You Can Find Me, I'm Here. You have
There's one that Wikipedia lists as an instrumental that full on isn't an instrumental. Checklist.
oh
The
yeah,
one
like
where
arts
Anthony
and
Perkins
crafts or
is,
whatever.
yeah.
Um
Oh,
and
is
the
that what it's called?
I forget like what the exact
Yeah.
name is it, but it's something like that.
Yeah.
Um
I mean, if Wikipedia lists it as an instrumental, how can I trust it that Checklist is the actual title of it? But that is the one where he's trying to memorize where all the rooms are and all that.
and then
Uh,
there's When, which is
well,
this telepathic duet they have.
before that, though, is I Remember,
Oh yeah, I
which is the
remember,
song
yes.
that's just on Ella, who we find out is eventually her first name, Harkins, as they keep calling her,
Yeah,
which is her last name.
which is
It's
the theater
this.
I work at.
Oh, hey, there you go. But it's all just one shot on Harkins, getting closer and closer as she's reciting what she does remember from like she was 6 and she fell asleep in women's hats. Is her line, and then she woke up and they took her. They wouldn't let her back out, and so it's her song like about what little she does remember from the old world, and uh, uh, I remember the sun and all this stuff, and it's a really good song.
It's so
Even then,
beautiful.
not even the best song in the show.
Yeah.
Uh,
And then after that we get When, the
yes,
telepathic duet, where it's like I like how that song like mixes with Charles playing cards. It's like I pass the hours, but yada yada yada.
hearts, one heart,
One heart.
one heart that beats for you or whatever.
Exactly.
It's very cheeky. I mean, the fact that Sondheim is cranking this out for a 50-minute TV movie that was so that one of the screenwriters would have enough money for, I think his wife was having a kid, and so they produced this movie to get to raise money for that, and that he's cranking out these like really beautiful songs for this non-theatrical, either a theatrical movie or theatrical musical production, like that he's still putting in that effort for this is that's how he's one of the greats,
Exactly.
if he's doing something like When or Take Me to the World, which
Yes.
is
That's the last song.
just so beautiful.
Fantastic. Oh, like it is the defining song from this musical. Like it's become like a standard among like theater people, among Sondheim fans, and it is worth every bit of praise it gets. It is such a beautiful. It's not really a duet. It's just one person sings, then the other person sings things, but it's still just it's fantastic. I can't even put it into words.
Yeah, I mean to the point that I mean Wikipedia on the page for Evening Primrose has a selection on recordings just of like other people doing recordings from this show, and the it mentions that the virtual Sondheim 90th birthday celebration was called Take Me to the World. Like
Yes.
it transcends originating, like this is not an adaptation of a
Yeah.
play. This is an original musical for the TV production here, and that a song from this has transcended and established itself as like one of the Sondheim standards is really telling of what a great song it is in the here in this. And then the reprise of it is really, really good and then really, really dark.
Hmm.
Which is you had mentioned, and I'd seen it mentioned elsewhere, that this is sort of like a uh, uh,
A
feels
musical episode of
spiritually,
Twilight
yes,
Zone.
like a musical episode of The Twilight Zone. And I was getting to that ending, and I was like, well, it doesn't really have the like ironic twist that I was hoping for with that description. Like, yeah, it's eerie and surreal, but like it doesn't really have that. And then it hits you with that, and it really does live up to that, to those expectations in a way that really just puts a pit in your stomach,
Hmm.
honestly. But great ending, especially being underscored by the reprise. What is it? What are the lyrics changed to in it? Because it's just listed as "Take Me to the World" reprise, but it's like "We are in the world" or something like that.
I didn't even realize there were lyric changes. I thought it was just like the same thing, but
No,
let me see.
it's yeah, it changes to something about like now we're in the world, like we are out here and
We shall
uh,
see the world.
we shall see the
See the
world,
world come
right?
true. We shall have the world. I won't be afraid. With you, we shall have the world.
Yes. Which
We
do we want to get
yeah,
to
we
our
can talk
spoilers?
about the ending now, but I
Okay.
feel like we've hinted it enough where people can figure out what happens. But
Yes. So
basic,
they make their plans to escape, and they're going to do it. Charles has been commissioned to write an ode for this big gala that they're having, and he's gonna recite his ode first. And the plan is that they're gonna leave during the gala, but Miss Monday finds out about it because they broadcast their song over the intercom on
they
accident.
accidentally hit the button that tells everybody what they're gonna do.
Yes. And so instead of having him recite the ode, she's like, well, first, let's have a little dance. And then actually, let's have another little dance. And then let's have another dance. And just keeps making people go up and down and up and down. And so they try to make a break for it while everyone's dancing. But the Darkmen have already been called. And they make it out to a warehouse and they get into the back of a truck. And they're planning their escape. They're like, we'll go out with the morning shipment. The reason they don't, Mrs. Monday doesn't want them to leave is that they'll tell the world about the people living in the department store, and they'll all have to leave and go back out, and they'll
The
have to
line
give
she says is, "You'd never keep our secret. You're a poet. You'd have to put it in a poem. It's much too good a story not to tell," which I think is another
exactly.
really good line.
It's very good. But you have this chase sequence. At one point, Anthony Perkins gets a harpoon gun, which is great, and shoots it at some dark men. But they get into the back of this truck, and we get "We Shall See the World" playing, and cuts to the next morning on a busy city street, and we follow behind this couple that we think are Charles and Ella. But then the camera moves over to their faces, and we see it's just two random people. And then they stop in front of a department store window, and you see Charles and Ella as mannequins in a bride and groom display, being wed by the night watchman that they killed earlier with like a pot to the back of the head or whatever.
Mhm. Yeah, Roscoe just
Not
hit
that they
knocks up.
killed, yeah, that one of the other elders killed, but you get the shots of them as mannequins as they're singing. The two of them are singing underneath of, well, we shall see the world, we shall have the world, everything's great, we made it out, we escaped,
Mhm.
basically, and they didn't, and that's how it ends. And oh boy.
Yeah, it's hard. It's so heartbreaking that I on the first time I watched it, I didn't even like really accept that that was the ending. My mind, like, I remembered it as being more ambiguous, where it's like, oh, they might have made it out, they might have been turned into mannequins, but no, it's very definitive that they did not make it out. They were, but it's also just heartbreaking, just like it's
Yeah.
them getting married as mannequins, but it's like
How cruel. That
it's,
sucks. That's so mean.
but also I'm wondering if, like, do they set up the mannequins, or do is this still like the shop workers putting them up as like, oh, we got these new fucking mannequins, I guess we'll put them in a wedding display in the front window.
I mean, maybe. Who knows? But
I don't know.
either way, it's I mean, it's great. It's a great ending. I'm not
Hmm.
saying that it sucks as an ending to the story. It just, sucks for
It's a
them.
perfect ending, just
It is.
heartbreaking.
It is. It's some might even say poetic
Hmm.
because he's because get it
I get it. I get
because
it. Charles Snell's a poet. Ha 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 ha. Everybody
he's
laugh at Gordon.
it's because he's a
If you're
poet.
listening right now, laugh out loud right now at Gordon's joke. Like,
Yeah.
we won't hear it, of course, but just laugh out loud to yourself, and just so Gordon can like feel it across the waves of time.
Yeah.
Eh, because
Wherever
it
you
was
are.
such a good joke. Like, you
Thank you.
gotta laugh at it.
Thank you. It's because he's a poet.
Thanks, Gordon.
You're welcome. Um, what else about this? It's fitting that we're here 26 minutes into this episode, not even that, kind of having run the gamut of it on account of it's a 50-minute movie, so it is bound to be a shorter episode,
Yeah.
but I'm sure there's more we can get into
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, like I have a lot of just like quotes and just like little moments. I like the actually it's mostly just quotes, but I really like I think it's when they're singing I think it's when they're singing Take Me to the World for the first time. Or no. It's when it's a sequence where Charles is teaching Ella like about like different things like t teaching her the alphabet, teaching her the presidents and things like that. And it's like in each scene change, it's like they're in a different costume in a different part of the store or and it's like in my mind, it's like it's much funnier to imagine that scene is all happening in one night and they just like doing the costume changes.
Yeah, I always love that in a movie where a conversation will, cut between two scenes as if no cut has been made, like a line of dialogue will immediately follow and then they're in a new location. I always love the idea of following that in real time. Like, if you have two people having a discussion in a boardroom and one of them asks a question, and then they get up and walk silently out to the parking lot before the other person responds and you just have a lot of awkward silence of just and now we have to get to the next part so that we can cut away to the next scene transition. I always love that happens here. There's like a cut while she's reciting out her times tables.
Yes.
And like I like the idea of her like, okay, I got to 2 times 4. Now let's get changed silently, go to another room, and now I can say 2 times 5 is 10.
Yeah, she
Uh,
just really had to think about it for a
yeah,
while.
in complete silence.
Hmm.
Um, no, I
She's
do love
really
that.
stupid. We got to emphasize this. She's
She
just absolute dumb broad.
she has been a slave since she was 6. She's allowed to not know things.
Uh, but yeah, God, it is so hard. Like her songs are so heartbreaking.
She's
Like
really good.
of course I love all these songs, but I remember and Take Me to the World are just so heartbreakingly beautiful.
Yeah, she has a great voice. I think this was her last movie. I think IMDb said that she like retired after this. Which I mean, like having the Sound of Music and then this and then deciding no, I'm good is a real power move.
Yeah,
Uh,
she's got three things on Wikipedia: Sound of Music, a TV series pilot, and then Evening Primrose. And then she fucked off.
what more do you need? Good
What
for
more do
her.
you really need?
Yeah. Oh, speaking of things, did you read the IMDb trivia at all for
I
this?
did not. I did not think to do that.
Okay, let me read to you, or not read to you, but tell you my favorite bit of trivia, which when you get down to the bottom of trivia on IMDb to the ones that nobody has voted on, usually those are the dregs. But in this case, it's because not a lot of people have seen this movie.
Of
Because
course.
otherwise, this is a legitimately really interesting piece of trivia. The studio, the like they didn't like the title. They didn't like the title Evening Primrose. But they liked even less Stephen Sondheim's suggestion for the title of this movie. Do you want to guess what Sondheim's suggestion for a title for this movie was?
The Darkmen cometh.
No, it was A Little Night Music,
Ah,
which he was like, well, I'll just use that later.
yeah. I
I
mean,
think that's neat.
I do think it fits better with the actual musical Little Night Music, but
Yeah. I just think that's neat that this is where that title comes from, was a rejected alternate title for Evening Primrose.
mhm.
Which also, by the way, evening primrose means nothing. Like it happens at evening, and I guess I don't know enough about the flower of the primrose to know how it relates to the plot here, but it is just kind of a
Yeah.
that sounds pretty kind of a
Evening
title.
Primrose is just the name of like a plant, a
Oh, right,
flower.
yes, it is. Yeah, there is a thing called I remember that from trying to look up this movie and just getting the evening primrose, the flower. You're right, but I don't know how that really relates to the plot of this, but maybe
I,
I'm wrong.
I'm just scrolling through the Wikipedia page trying to think, but it might just be like Ella is kind of like an evening primrose, just this small little flower that
Ella gay as a tarantella, which he
per
sings twice. Once in the song and then once just like on its own as a line later in the midst of a regular scene. I noted that down. as just a good line of music. Uh, was there any other trivia I wanted? Oh, uh, this movie is in black and white now. But the original broadcast was in color, and the master for the color production was lost and has never resurfaced. So the only versions of this that exist out now are in black and white.
That's unfortunate. I would have
Yeah.
liked to see this in color. Well, I do like it in black and white, but I would at least like a higher quality version.
Yeah, it's not terrible. It's not the worst quality that we've seen on this show so far, but it's not
True.
great.
Yeah, like we have sat through like fucking in broad daylight and the Hanged Man. We're both pretty terrible quality wise.
Yeah. Even like Welcome Home Johnny Bristol was not great,
Yes, almost forgot about that.
unfortunately. But what
Okay. God, what
else? What else? What else?
do you have any
Uh,
other favorite quotes?
Not quotes, I don't think. I did like the phrasing when they were talking about how you're not allowed to talk to Harkins because she tried to escape once. We permit no contact with her. I just thought that was a fun little turn of phrase there where it's like, I don't know. That was just one of the quotes I wrote down. I also like in the opening song where he's talking about how, like, now there's nobody here to bother me. It's just me and 40 pianos and 10,000 shoes. Which I want to go to a department store that only sells 40 pianos and 10,000 shoes.
In bulk. Like you can't just buy one like one pair of shoes. You gotta buy all
It's like
10,000.
10,000 shoes when all you need is 40 pianos. And isn't it ironic?
Isn't it ironic? Well, you got 10,000 shoes, but you need a pair of socks.
No, you need 40
You
pianos.
need four pianos. Uh, some of the lines I liked was first when Charles and Ross go and like first meet another group of the people who live there, and they just say kind of like the seagulls in Finding Nemo, where they're just like, "Call the Darkmen, call the Darkmen, call the Darkmen." Yes, you need to call the Darkmen, but it's just like, no, come with me. We're going to miss Monday.
Yeah.
Um,
That one shot of the Darkman at the top of the escalator,
escalator.
which sequel to my favorite Oscar-nominated drama starring Robert Preston, The Darkman at the top of the escalator. But no, that shot was like, for a villainous group that has only been referred to get them just as like silhouettes at the top of this sort of a mountain of sorts is effectively spooky. They're pretty creepy.
Yeah, they did really good job like emphasizing it's like, oh yeah, the Darkmen are pretty fucked up.
Yeah, they're going to turn you into a mannequin.
And so other lines I liked. I've one of my favorite lines from the songs is poets who suffer pain should fall in love with girls named Jane, not Ella.
That is wild. I do love that.
And then there's also something Ella says like after like when they're talking in her little basement area. I think it's right after she sings I Remember. She says, Charles touched me and now I shall see the world. Well, and it's like one that sounds kind of like weird on just like out of context, but in context it is heartbreaking and beautiful and I love it.
Yeah.
Um yeah, and then there's a line like early on with like Charles asks Roscoe like what goes on here, and he says, "Life, my boy, and death, of course. You can't have one without the other." Which another really nice line.
Life, my boy, and people being turned into mannequins. You can't have one without the other.
Life and mannequins.
Yep,
They're
that's
they're
it. There are two universal truths in life, and it's life and mannequins.
exactly.
Yep, I'm pretty sure it was Benjamin Franklin who said
Yep.
that.
I mean, Ben Franklin did really love mannequins. He always wanted to fuck them.
That tracks from
Hmm.
what I know of him.
I did just make that up, but I just imagine it as
I
something that would
know.
be
I
true.
was. I like that. That's a good way of saying lying. Imagining something that could be true.
But it's like it doesn't mean
No,
it's not
I know what you
true.
mean. I just think that that's a good way to spin that. That's a good Yeah, that wasn't a lie. It was just something that could be true that I imagined.
Which you know is just how people like make tweets nowadays. It's just like I don't know if it's true, but I think it could be.
It could be, so I'm gonna say it to the universe.
Uh, this is kind of unrelated, but also
I mean,
whenever
anything to fill the time here. What do we got?
whenever I think of Evening Primrose, whenever I think of especially if you can find me, I'm here. Um, I have to remember there's a version by Mandy Patinkin. There's a lot of versions by Mandy Patinkin, but there's one album of his called Mandy Patinkin Sings Sondheim. And that entire album is just Mandy Patinkin and a piano, and it kind of sounds like he's going insane as he's singing all these songs.
I do
Um,
love that.
and like when he sings If You Can Find Me, I'm Here, it's so weirdly scary. It's like it sounds like he's on the run, like as like he murdered somebody and is hiding away in this it's like he's just on the run from the cops. And like one of also another one of the most unhinged songs on there is when he sings Sunday from Sunday in the Park with George, which that's a song that is typically sung by like the entire company of the show. It's sung by choirs, but to hear it sung by just one fucking guy, it just it's just like it seems like he's going insane. Like it's a extraordinarily strange album, but I love it dearly.
It sounds like a good time.
It it really is. If you if any of you listening out there are a fan of Stephen Sondheim musical theater and you have not listened to that album, I think it's worth a listen, especially since Mandy Patinkin is just a great singer, and now you can listen to him be a little crazy.
There you go. Um, oh, one other thing I did want to mention, because it seemed like for years this, like I think Sondheim was against the idea of doing this on stage and just keeping it as is.
Hmm.
But there was eventually a theatrical production of this that, if I remember correctly from reading on Wikipedia, starred Neil Patrick Harris. So
Okay.
at least they kept with the casting uh, for a for this straight poet, we'll say.
See, I don't think that was like an official production, but it was like like not really a stage version, but like a concert
Oh,
performance
right.
of it. And like it was released as an album with that and The Frogs, another one of Stephen Sondheim's musicals that doesn't really get performed on that much. And that album of the two of those shows, I love that album. It's one of my favorites.
Well, there you go.
But yeah, God, what else is there to do here? What like
I
there's
don't
just
know.
like the thing is it's like whenever there's something that I really love on the show, it's like I want to talk about it as long as possible, but sometimes I just can't think of things to talk about. It's like the same thing.
Especially with this, which is 50 again, excuse me, 50 minutes long.
Yeah, it happened with Johnny Bristol as well, where it's just like, God, I love this thing. I want to talk about this, and this, and then we talk about it, and it's like, oh wow, it's been 30 minutes.
Yeah. At least with that though, I'm sure there was stuff that we left on the cutting room floor of that. But like here we've kind of talked about most of the movie.
I wish we had a game or something.
I wish we did too. Oh, it sounded like that was a lead into you having a game.
Oh no, I
No,
don't.
I okay. I don't
I was
either.
genuinely just wish we had a game.
I okay. I
I
thought
wish
that
I
was
had
a
thought of a game. Like I was thinking like just now, like as we were recording, I was thinking, oh, maybe there's a game we could do where it's like which Stephen Sondheim musicals have won Emmys or something. But it's just like one, it's like that wouldn't be too fun for either of us really. And then it's also like I don't think there's even that many. I think there like I know Gypsy with Bette Midler has won an Emmy, at least
right.
one. I think she won an Emmy for it. But then outside of that, I'm not sure there's been much.
You honestly probably could have gone pretty basic with it and just which Sondheim musical is this song from? Because I am not nearly the Sondheim scholar that you are.
Do
Uh,
you know like what Sondheim musicals can you name off the top of your head?
well, West Side Story.
Of course.
I got that one. Sunday in the Park with George.
Okay.
Uh, Company.
Yes, of course, my favorite.
Yes, yes. God, there's a lot that I like know of and can't remember the title of. Um, yeah, I am not a musical theater no, I'm not a musical theater person, but I'm not as uh, 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 memorized on a lot of that stuff. So I know that you're gonna name some now, and I'm gonna be like, oh right, of course that. But I am
Uh,
at the moment on the spot blanking.
y- so here's what I'll do. I'll give you like a little hint as to each one, and then we'll see if you know anything about it. And I'm gonna skip over a couple of like the super obscure ones that, of course, nobody would really know. But outside of that, um, I already mentioned Gypsy. I'll just go over that
Oh
one.
right, I forgot. I know you literally just said it, which is part of why I maybe didn't say it. But I do intimately know Gypsy. I've seen several productions of that one. I
Of
just
course.
don't always remember that as Sondheim, even though you just said it.
Yeah. And then his first musical that he did by himself, set in ancient Greece. Do you know that one?
Did he do a funny thing happen on the way to the
Yes, he
forum?
did.
Okay,
That was
there you go.
his first solo musical where he wrote both music and lyrics. And then after that, he had a notorious flop that had Lee Remick and Angela Lansbury in the original cast. It's about I. The plot is insane. It also has Harry Guardino. This is a really stat cast for this flop of a musical. Any idea?
Not a clue.
Anyone can whistle. There's a lot of great songs in that
I
one.
don't think I've even heard of that.
Yeah. And then another super obscure one that I won't even ask you if you know. It's the one he wrote with Richard Rodgers of Rodgers and Hammerstein fame called "Do I Hear a Waltz?" Uh,
Nope, nothing for
yeah,
me.
exactly. Then it was Evening Primrose and was Company, and then in 1971 he did the one about like all these aging starlets coming back together.
Oh, I should know that one, but
You
I
should.
don't off the top.
Follies.
Oh, right. I didn't know that. I just know that title. I don't know anything about it, but I
Okay.
do know the title at the very least.
Then do you know the one based on an Ingmar Bergman movie?
Do I?
You do. You mentioned it earlier. A Little Night Music.
I don't think I knew that that was
Yeah, it's based on
Bergman.
Smiles of a Summer Night.
I don't know that Bergman movie.
Well then, you
There you
should
go.
you should double feature the Bergman movie and then the Elizabeth Taylor like version of A Little Night Music. Neither of which are very good in my opinion, but still. The Little Night Music itself is good. Just the movie is kind of notoriously not that good.
Sounds fun.
And then we have the frogs, which I glossed over earlier. And then we have the one set in Reform Restoration Japan. You don't know that one, of
Okay, I
course.
was gonna say, is this one that I should
It
know?
it's
No.
one that I want more people to know, and it's like it is actually a really historic one in terms of Sondheim. One because it is one of the first musicals to get a pro shot, because so Pacific Overtures. It stars Mako as like the kind of narrator of the whole thing. He plays a lot of different characters in it, and it's about like the when the Americans went over to Japan and essentially westernized the country. And this was so popular with like these Japanese investors that they paid for a television company to go and film the production for airing on Japanese TV. And so like it is just one of the first Broadway musicals to get filmed live on Broadway. Well, maybe not like filmed on Broadway, like in the theater and everything. It's really, and since then, it's like Stephen Sondheim has been trying to get most of his musicals have been filmed in one way or another.
Well,
Yeah.
there you go.
And then after that, we have the one about the murderer.
Um,
This is a really big one.
I'm sure it is. I'm just there's a lot of musicals that are like coming to mind, and I'm like,
The
I don't
movie
want
about
to.
meat pies.
Okay, I wasn't 100% sure that Sweeney Todd was Sondheim, and I didn't want to say it and have it not be Sondheim and look like an idiot. But when you said murder, I was like, it's probably Sweeney Todd.
It's Sweeney Todd.
It's Sweeney Todd. Okay.
Then we have the one that's told backwards.
another one I should probably know
You should
from
probably know.
that.
It just had a really big revival with Daniel Radcliffe and Jonathan Groff.
Oh, yes. Merrily We Roll Along.
Yes, congratulations. And then
Thank you.
you already said Sunday in the Park with George. Then you have the one that got turned into a Disney movie because it's based on fairy tales.
Oh, yeah, Into the Woods.
Of course.
Again, I was in that in middle school. It was Into the Woods Junior, which meant it was Act One only. But I was in that in middle school. I just, again, forgot it was Sondheim.
Yeah.
But now that you say that, of course it is.
And then after that, we have one of my favorite bits of theater trivia, and it's that Victor Garber and Michael Severus both played John Wilkes Booth in this musical, and then they both played Thomas Andrews, Victor Garber in Titanic the movie, and Michael Severus in Titanic the musical, which came out the same year.
Well, there you go.
So what musical did they both play John Wilkes Booth in?
I don't know.
It's Assassins.
I think I've heard that title,
It
and
it
only that title.
it is a fantastic one. It is like top three Sondheim for me.
Ooh, and that's saying something.
Yeah, he has a lot of great stuff, and Assassins is top three. Anyway, and then the last three shows he did are kind of obscure, or at least I don't think you'll be able to get them. We have Passion, which is about these soldiers in Italy, and one of them falls in love with an ugly woman, essentially, who's really fucked up. But it's it's a weird move. It's a weird musical, but and it's like it's hard to get into, but also Fosca, the main female role, she is amazing. She's iconic. I love her. She is me, actually. I am Fosca.
Hell
Anyway,
yeah.
then we have Roadshow, also called Bounce, which is about like the gold rush and the Florida real estate boom about these two real life brothers, Addison and Wilson Misner, who Meisner, Meisner. Um, yeah, it's I don't nobody really talks about it ever. It just kind of premiered in the 2000s and then kind of nothing happened with it. It was off Broadway and then it had a what's it called? An encore's presentation and that's it. Nobody ever performs it or thinks about it. But I think it's underrated. I think it has some really good songs in there.
Fascinating.
And then the most recent one, his posthumous musical, is called Here We Are, which is based on two Louis Buñuel films, Exterminating Angel and Discreet Charm and Bourgeoisie.
Ooh,
And it just premiered off Broadway, I think last year, maybe 2 years ago. Oh, and it's about to be in London, or actually, no, it already is in London. It just had its opening night performance a few like last week as we record this, and I'm gonna go to London in at the start of June, and so I'll and that's why we're gonna have to record a few episodes even more in advance than we already do because I will be out of town.
well, there you go.
But
What,
yeah,
what a what a career.
yeah. Anyway, that wasted a lot of time.
I don't think so. We're still not even at the length of the movie Evening Primrose. So I think we're good.
All right. Um. Well, any last? Actually, we didn't even do the cola and not these ants.
Which I
Uh.
think, yeah, we talked about. We're maybe not. We're maybe retiring that segment 2 episodes into it
Yeah.
existing.
We were like we said we were going to talk about, it, and then we didn't. But do you agree with me that I feel like it's kind of
Yeah, might as well.
pointless? Okay. Well, yeah. Sorry about that. Well, I'm going to play the audio of both of those lines one last time here. It's like a farewell.
Gentlemen, the cola is very, very good today.
Not these ants.
Maybe
And we
put a
just
little Sarah McLachlan underneath.
like I will remember you very,
Yeah,
very good cola.
yeah, exactly. Uh, no, do with that what you will. I also don't have on this episode a top 10 list of my favorite lines of dialogue that say the word ants because there weren't enough to fill out a list, unfortunately. I'm still waiting for that second, for a time I can bring back that segment. But as of yet, no top 10
No
ants
ants.
lines.
Yeah. You didn't even see an ant in this movie. Like,
I
come
know.
on. Jesus
That's
Christ.
crazy. We got to put more ants in our movies, you guys.
We need more ants. It's like we really peaked in like 1998, 1999, whenever Ants came out. Ants and
And A
Bugs Life
Bug's
came
Life.
out.
Yeah.
But since then, it's very, very poor ant representation.
We've had Ant-Man.
We
We've
did have
had
Ant Bully, and
The
of
Ant
course,
Bully, which has like 4 or 5 Oscar winners in its voice cast.
hmm
It's like that and Fantastic Mr. Fox are the two animated movies that Meryl Streep came out for. Uh,
wow.
oh, have you
Mer
not looked at the cast of The Ant Bully?
no, I was just thinking it's like, oh wow, Meryl Streep has only done two animated movies.
Let me read to you the voice cast of
I,
The Ant
I
Bully.
do know the cast of the Ant
I
Bully.
know, but also for the people.
For people out there,
Julia Roberts, Nicolas Cage, Meryl Streep, Paul Giamatti, Regina King, Bruce Campbell, Lily Tomlin are your top billed cast. You've also got Sherry O'Terry, Ricardo Montalban
hell yeah,
is in this. Uh, crazy, crazy stuff.
crazy stuff. Anyway, uh,
Anyway,
if that's all we're going to talk about, then I think we should probably end this episode. And for those of you listening out there, remember, if you're ever in trouble, just call the Darkmen.
yes, and they'll turn your enemies into living, not even living, into
Just into
embalmed dead.
mannequins.
Yes, into embalmed dead mannequins of their actual real life corpses.
Yeah. Anyway, bye bye.
Bye.